So after a long look, after a long investigation, after so many people have been so badly hurt,
after not looking at the other side, where a lot of bad things happened, a lot of horrible things happened, a lot of very bad things happened for our country. It was just announced there was no collusion with Russia. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There was no collusion with Russia. There was no obstruction. None whatsoever.
Part 1. What the Mueller Report actually said. May 29, 2019. Robert Mueller has advised Americans to go back and actually read his report if we want to understand what happened in 2016. We chose those words carefully, and the work speaks for itself, he said on Wednesday morning, speaking publicly for the first time since his appointment. But the words of the report are damning. The Russian government interfered in the 2016 presidential election in sweeping and systematic fashion, Mueller wrote. This helped, quote, favored presidential candidate Donald J. Trump and disparaged presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, unquote. The Trump campaign expected it would benefit electorally from information stolen and released through Russian efforts, and it welcomed this help. There is insufficient evidence to accuse the Trump campaign of criminal conspiracy with its Russian benefactors. However, quote, the social media campaign and the GRU hacking operations coincided with a series of contacts between Trump campaign officials and individuals with ties to the Russian government, unquote. These contacts were covered up by a series of lies, both to the special counsel and to Congress. Lying by the Trump campaign successfully obscured much of what happened in 2016. The special counsel in some cases, quote, was not able to corroborate witness statements through comparison to contemporaneous communications, or fully question witnesses about statements that appeared inconsistent with other known facts, unquote. In particular, the investigation never did determine what happened to proprietary Trump campaign polling data shared with the Russians. Within hours of the appointment of a special counsel to investigate 2016 events, Trump began defaming him. Trump had already fired the FBI director who investigated these events. His first order to fire the special counsel appointed in the director's place was issued on June 17, 2017, a month after Mueller's appointment. That order would be followed by many more. Trump directed his staff to lie about these orders. Over and above his efforts to fire the special counsel, the president engaged in a second phase of conduct involving public attacks on the investigation, non-public efforts to control it, and efforts in both public and private to encourage witnesses not to cooperate with the investigation. The subversion of the investigation was brazen. Quote, many of the president's acts directed at witnesses, including discouragement of cooperation with the government and suggestions of possible future pardons, occurred in public view, unquote. Obstruction of justice, though, need not be clandestine to count as a crime. What matters is intent, and that must be judged by Congress, not a special counsel subordinate to the Department of Justice and bound by its rule that a president cannot be indicted. The full report is rich with details, but that's the essence. A foreign power interfered in the U.S. election to help the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign welcomed the help and repeatedly lied about it. The lying successfully obscured some questions the investigation sought to answer. In the end, it found insufficient evidence to charge a broader conspiracy. President Trump, in public and in private, worked to stop the investigation. Those are the facts. What are the remedies? Mueller underscored in his press statement he did not exonerate the president. Under the Department of Justice rules he was subject to, he lacked the power to act. Meanwhile, the Trump administration refuses to take steps to secure the next presidential election against the interference that swayed the last. The question of why Russia so strongly wished to help Trump remains as mysterious as ever. In particular, if you wish to understand the breadth and depth of Trump's Russian business connections before he declared for president in 2015, Mueller's report will not help you. Mueller says he can do no more. The rest, Congress, is up to you. Part 2. The wisest remedy is not impeachment. Impeachment at this point is all but certain to end in Trump's acquittal in the Senate, which is controlled by a Republican majority. The votes of 2/3 of the senators who are present are required to remove a president from office, and 67 is a number not within the present political reality. That may change, but it won't change for reasons internal to the impeachment process. It will change only if new, real-world facts materialize, either legal facts, evidence of other crimes, or political facts, a collapse in Trump's support in the country. A Trump facing impeachment will rally reluctant Republicans to him with the argument, so effective for Bill Clinton in the 1990s, even if he did something wrong, it does not merit removal from office. And an acquitted Trump will be an immunized Trump. Is it vexing to hear Trump's team misrepresent Robert Mueller's report as an exoneration? Imagine what they will say and do if they defeat impeachment on a party-line Senate vote. It was all fake news, a plot by the deep state. As false and wrong as those claims will be, how will Democrats sustain the momentum to hold Trump to account after a trial and acquittal? Won't they then have to submit to the jeers of Trump henchpersons? The issue was litigated and it's time to move on. Impeachment now threatens to turn the 2020 election into a referendum on the Democrats' methods in Congress, not Trump's wrongdoing in the presidency, the campaign, and in private life. Trump accountability is not an all-or-nothing choice. It's not now or never. The House can investigate every Trump misdeed, exposing to the light of day everything from allegations of money laundering and bank fraud to the abuse of undocumented immigrant laborers at Trump-owned properties. It can investigate the Trump-Russia file not as a case of criminal conspiracy, but as a national security threat. It can fight the battle for proper Trump financial disclosure in the courts, and summon the national security professionals who were overruled by Trump when they denied Jared Kushner a security clearance to testify before committees. By focusing on many different issues at once rather than the singular issue of impeachment, Democrats have the chance to do three things. Number one, they focus on the discovery of facts rather than arguments over consequences. What wrongs did Trump do, rather than is removal the right remedy for these wrongs? Number two, they liberate their presidential candidates to campaign on the bread and butter issues that will mobilize and motivate less committed voters, rather than obliging them to opine on the big existential question of impeachment and removal. Number three, they reserve the impeachment remedy for the very genuine possibility of a Trump second term, by which time the Senate will likely have shifted more in the Democrats' direction. Trump outrages the sense of justice. It is understandable that many yearn for urgent and decisive action to cleanse the American system. But wise action is better than urgent action, and the best decision is one that leads to success.